Welcome to Trailblazing Bosses. I'm Veranda Atkins, and this podcast is all about real stories and practical tips for travel agents looking to level up. Whether you're part-time aiming to go full-time or you've been at it for a couple of years and just feel stuck, we've got you covered. Each episode dives into strategies, challenges, and advice to help you grow your businesses and achieve success. Let's get started. Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining us today on this episode of Trailblazing Bosses. Today we have Miss Brittany Shuford with Darling Destinations on the line with us. Hey Brittany!
Hey Miranda!
So Brittany, why don't you just go ahead and tell everyone just a little bit about you, what you do, how you got into travel, all that good stuff.
I'm Brittany Shuford from Birmingham, Alabama. I've been in travel now. I lose count of the years, honestly, but we just gonna say 7, I think. Maybe 8. I don't know. Somewhere between 6 and 8. We just gonna say between 6 and 8.
Between 6 and 8.
Somewhere
Okay.
between 6 and 8. I've owned my travel agency, Darling Destination. This year in June will be 3 years. Prior to that, I was with a host agency, and my former name was Journeys with Brittany. But I lost my great grandma when I was coming back from one of my annual group trip that I do in November, and she affectionately called everybody Darling. So I thought that I would change the name to Darling Destinations when I started my own agency as a whole instead of being with my former host, and that's how I got to Darling Destinations. So I've been a full-time travel agent now 5 years. How did I get to this point? I was working at my godmom's optometrist office, and a lady walked in, and she was like, she did taxes full-time, and she was a full-time travel agent, but she didn't have to leave out of her house to work. And at the time, that sounded amazing to me because I don't want to leave my house. Like, I feel like I want to stay at home every day, all day. So I tried taxes with her first, and it was stressful as I don't know what, but I used the money that I made off taxes to start being a travel agent in her travel business that year. And that's basically my story. The short version.
Had you traveled a lot before you started your agency?
Nope. A little here and there, a few cruises with my family. Like family travel for me was like going to the Gulf Shores beach in Alabama and stuff. Like we went to the different beaches that was drivable, but just like full blown travel. No, I had flown a few places, but not a lot. I didn't take my first flight until college.
Okay. So that's funny because I think a lot of people, people come into the travel industry all different ways. And then people have, you got those people that are like, oh, if you don't travel, you can't be a travel agent. But then you got people who only start traveling because they became a travel agent. So are you on one side of the fence or the other when it comes to how much people need to travel before or during?
So I'm never on one side of the fence. I can kind of see stuff both ways. I do feel like now that I am that you do need to travel, because how can you sell something that you not like? I always say you have to be a product of your product. So don't think that it's going to work like that for everybody, that you can just come in and it's going to be miraculous and you just sell travel and you don't know it. So I do think you should travel in order to be a travel agent, but I don't think a person should not try to be a travel agent if they're not well traveled, because then you may miss out on somebody like me who it worked out for.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense. So let's see, what is a day in the life of Brittany, owner of I need to give everybody a preface before. Brittany and I have been knowing each other now, I guess going on like 4 years. It's almost 4 years.
I lost count of years. Right? That's what I'm saying. I don't even know at this point.
I got you. But I think it's almost 4 years because I met
4 or 5.
Yeah, it's somewhere around there. But Brittany and I were at a conference in Cancun, not together. We left out for lunch and ended up at the same restaurant. And she came over to ask about our food, and somehow we both just started talking, and we've been friends like literally ever since then. So
I live in Alabama. I live in Alabama.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know how it came. So I know some of these questions I know the answers to, but I want to educate our listeners on what the life of travel agents look like, because sometimes people, all they see is us getting on the plane and us at the destination and all that stuff. They don't see what we're doing while you at home doing what you do. So yeah.
Or even at home, not just at home doing what we do when we're in the destination most of the time. Not saying that all of our travel is just always these quote unquote fam trips. Like, but when we are on those fam trips, we're not just there sitting in the pool having drinks, having fun. When you do see us doing it for content purposes, let me just say that for content, there may be a little 30-minute window that we got out of the whole entire time of going from this property to that property, this property to that property, and touring this room and that room and just everything. It's glitz and glamour, don't get me wrong. But like I tell people right now, everybody like, when your next trip? I don't want to talk about it. I'm not traveling in January. Sometimes it's tiring even for us. So though it looks good, it looks fun, it still works. So imagine just having to do your job constantly on the airplane. That's basically what our life is.
Good point. And going back to the fam trip thing, I think about Brittany and I were just in Jamaica together back in October. And I think we were there 4 days. And like she said, we got in the pool 30 minutes. And we were trying to delay dinner, like literally trying to stay every minute we could before we had to get dressed to go to dinner. Yeah. So yeah, and I think that's the part that, everybody wants to get into the travel industry. Everybody sees us traveling, and the question we always get on social media is, when do you need an assistant? Do you need an assistant? Oh, I'll go with you. But they don't realize like all the stuff that goes with us, because I don't want to put your sales out there, whatever you do, but I know that Brittany is like one of the top sellers in her agency. She's rolling her eyes now because she's very humble. She's very humble, but she said she does do a lot. And tell them what I'm trying to say it, get you to say it without me saying it. What is your home setup like for you to work?
My bed. I have an office. I have a full room that is set up to be an office, but my bed is my comfort zone.
Okay. And I think the reason I wanted you to say that to people is, again, because people have these concepts again in their head of everything. Like, I think what gets into a lot of entrepreneurs' way sometimes is ourselves, because we feel like we gotta have this office, we gotta have this stuff set up, we gotta have everything. And Brittany is literally telling us she runs her business for the most part from her bed. And when I found out that, I was like, your bed? Like, what? Like, what are you doing? But she can do that. I would never be able to function if that's where I had to do it. But I just say that to say, like, the travel industry is so multifaceted with so many people. And I think people get stuck on, oh, this is what, Veranda did. This is what Brittany did. I have to do it this way in order to be successful. And that's the great part about our industry, is that that's what draws your clients to you, is the personality that you bring to your business.
I can give you the recipe every day, but it don't mean it's going to taste like my cake.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, I worked from the side of the road in my car before. Like, back when it was in the beginning, when it was like, oh, I can't lose these people. Pull over on the side of the road, pull my laptop up, do my hotspot, like anywhere, anytime, any place.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes that's what I can remember the same thing. Like, being in the car with my daughter, like, okay, Jazz, we got to pull over for like 5 minutes. Let me make this booking. Let me apply this payment. And that's like, hopefully, it's funny because that's going to take us into the next question, because I was going to talk about processes and procedures. So that's in the beginning. And I mean, sometimes that still happens now. But in the beginning, it's like, look, I got to get every cent. I got to take every client. I got to do all this stuff, whatever it takes to be done. What processes and procedures do you feel like you have in place now that kind of prevents some of those emergencies? We all know they still happen, but it's not the norm anymore, I think, like it was when I first started.
I think a good CRM system, hands down, like having that, because when I first started off, I didn't have Travel Joy. So I was I'm just going to be blunt with you. I was taking Cash App, I was taking Zelle. However they got me the money, they got it. So it was like, okay, I can't let these people money sit in my account. So I got to make sure I get this off my card right now. But having a CRM system now where you're authorizing the payment, that window time gives me, I can drive 30 or 40 minutes and wait and make sure that my confirmation even says 2 to 3 business days. So I have way more wiggle room now to make sure that this payment process is over you sending me your money directly. So that helped a lot, having a good CRM system.
Yeah, I think that's a big downfall. I know when I first started 10 years ago, CRM systems weren't as big as they are now. We didn't
Mm-hmm.
have all the vacation CRMs and Travel Joys and Planet Easy and just all the stuff that exists now. We didn't have all of that then. So I literally used to take payments and keep it on like an Excel spreadsheet and to have room
Mm-hmm.
lists and scratch out names and do all that.
I
Right.
would quit. I would quit. Like right now, I want to quit. That
So
makes me
she's
want to quit.
Yeah, and that's how it was. It was like literally, and it was funny because I did have an assistant at the time, and she would be amazed that I could keep booking numbers in my head for people. And I was like, I just know it because I'm literally scratching out their names and putting other stuff, in place. So yeah, those processes and procedures I think help people get um to just try to get established. But sometimes it can also be a hindrance because people feel like, again, I gotta have everything in order, everything set up. And I actually saw a sign. I was out running errands today, and I saw a sign that said, "If you're not making mistakes, then you aren't trying."
Exactly.
And I was like, you know what? It was on their board of their like employee board, so it wasn't something I could buy, but I would have bought it if I could have, because I think that's really important. Like people think, oh, I have to have everything done right now. And we still don't know. Like
Yeah.
as much as we talk about there's a CRM system, I think all of us there's pieces of Travel Joy that we wish it still had, and
Yeah.
there's pieces
Oh
of
yeah.
this thing that we still had. So you're never going to get those processes and procedures like all in place, but you got to start so that you
Somewhere.
can move forward and then start building, because the more you work, the more you're going to realize what you need to.
Yeah. Like
So
even starting, not to cut you off, I'm sorry. Like
uh-uh.
I was talking to my friends sometimes about certain businesses, and like I gotta have this logo and I gotta have my website, and I'm like, you invest all that money into it, and what if it doesn't work? Like the goal is for it to work, but what if it doesn't work? Just start somewhere. Nobody
Yeah,
cares if your logo costs $1,000 or if it costs $10. They don't
yeah,
care. Just
yeah,
start somewhere. Don't just. I
yeah.
mean, going in and investing a lot. If you have it, cool. But it don't go broke into a dream if you don't know what the dream is going to
Yeah,
bring you.
I agree. That's a good one. And one of the things that I think people get so hung up on too is websites. And while I think websites are important because you do want to be a legitimate business,
Mm-hmm.
nobody's going to your website to book travel.
Nope.
And I tell people that all the time. As great as your website is, they're going to your website because they've seen it somewhere else before, because nobody knows as big as Darling Destinations is, as big as Travel Legacy is, nobody's just out there searching for us that doesn't already know us. They've gotten to us from somewhere else. So by the time they actually get to our website, they're booking already anyway.
Yeah. So the website is there. The
It's
website
not
is there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like we're one of the big online travel agencies with commercial. If you are, that's great. But most people aren't getting there. So as long as you got one page on your little website so that people know,
You're a legitimate
that you're a
business.
legit business, you at least trying. I
Yeah.
think that's what I tell people. Like, just do that, because they don't know. I feel like as travel agents, people book with us because they can connect with our personality. It's like you said, I
I
can give
agree.
you the recipe, but it ain't gonna taste the same.
Mm-hmm.
We can both have the same amount of sales each year, but the way you got to yours and the way I got to mine are going to be
Night
totally
and
different.
day. Yeah, because we're not in the same bracket. Y'all, she being graceful. Her
You're
sales
so
are still
silly.
in mine. Let's just be honest here.
So silly. So let me ask you some questions about, and I know you're gonna look at me like I'm crazy again when I say this, work
Uh-oh.
life balance. Because yeah, go ahead. Say what you're gonna say.
My life is not balanced. How can I have work-life balance and my life is not balanced? No, seriously, my sister, I don't know if you know, she's a therapist. She sent me something last night on ADHD, and I looked at all of the characteristics of it.
But you know what? I think I got it too,
Yeah,
Brittany.
no, seriously, seriously.
I do too.
I'm gonna go get tested because
She
at this
said,
point I can't take it no more. I
I
can't
think, but you know
take it.
what? I think that's part of our entrepreneurial minds, though. And
Mm,
I say that like without taking, obviously ADHD is a real struggle for people
definitely,
all over. So definitely
yeah.
not making fun of that. But I think too, because we do what we do, we have so many thoughts. Like sometimes I feel like I can't turn my brain off. And so it's not that I don't want to do everything to this project. It's like I done gave this project 10 minutes. Now I need to move over here and get this one 10 or 15 minutes. And then I got this one that needs 10 or 15 minutes. So it seems like I'm never getting anything done, but we getting it done.
Okay. No, I'm worse than you. That's you, but I'm probably a little bit worse because I may give it 2 minutes and forget to go back and give it another 8 minutes in the 10 that it needs.
I know that, it's hard. Like doing everything because you gotta have a you gotta have a life. You gotta have time for your family. You gotta have time for friends. We gotta have time for work. We gotta have time for clients. I literally had a client that texted me on Christmas morning. And I don't give out my personal cell phone number anymore. So this had to be an old client that she's traveling with that gave her my cell phone number. And her trip is not until March. And you texted me on Christmas morning. And I didn't want to ignore her, but I was like, Merry Christmas. Boundaries. I am not working today. And whatever you had, I'll be back in my office on this day. That's when we can talk again. But setting those boundaries, how do you go about trying to set those to create some kind of balance? I know you carry a couple of phones.
Yeah, no. And so I feel like what you did was really, really well because Christmas Day is outrageous. Like, come on, like even no matter religion, whatever case it is, like Christmas Day is the one holiday idea that most people shut down. Whether they celebrating the day or not, like, come on, it's Christmas Day. Like, and a trip in March, like I can see if she was leaving New Year's Eve. March.
Right.
March.
Right.
So yeah, I do have 2 different phones. I don't know if that's necessarily the answer either, but I had to learn because I would find myself at dinner or out with my friends and stuff, and I'm so engaged in my phone trying to text people back, trying to make sure people don't get upset because it's like, people feel like if you ignore them, oh, she don't want my money, she don't want this, not realizing that when you clock out your job at the end of the day, they can't call and say, if you work for the bank, they can't call and say, hey, your drawer was 50 cents short. Can you come back up here to the office? You're not going to do it for your job. So give the same grace and the same respect with, even though it is my business and I own it and that's what I chose to do, still give me grace because I'm still a human. And when I want to cut off work, I want to cut off work just like you want to cut off work.
Yeah.
Because I work long hours. We talking about 15-hour days some days that people don't know. It's so much that go on behind the scenes that people don't see.
Right. Yeah, for sure. And it's funny because I've said this before in other episodes that like my husband will say to me, when are you going to stop? Because it seems like the work never ends. So what difference does it make if you stop at 9 o'clock today or 12 o'clock? Because you go still work till 9 or 12 o'clock again tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like all of that happens. So we try to create those boundaries. I think it's like somebody new coming into the industry, I would tell them you have to start it from the beginning. And it's hard. And I was going to say if you would like agree, because when you first start, of course you're hungry, right? So you want to take all those bookings that's coming in, you want to make sure that people know. But it's like once you start doing it, you can't stop. And then it gets full. Right, exactly. Exactly. And then it's like when you do say, okay, but it is Christmas morning or it is Saturday. And
who she thinks she is now.
Right. She done got too big. When she first started, she was taking all my calls when she ain't had no money. But now she exactly.
Yeah. And in reality, me and Miranda both have like pretty much the same personality. Like we really don't care. Like we don't. We like some of the most easygoing people as you can meet. Like seriously, all jokes aside, we always joke about
for
that.
sure.
Like, it's not a matter of thinking that I'm bigger than who I am now. It's just that I'm tired. I'm burnt out. Like I can't be a robot. I'm a human.
Yeah.
Human. Like we're not machines.
Yeah. And it's a hard thing. It's the other side of travel. When I get new agents that want to come into my agency that say they want to start selling travel, I literally give them all of the quote unquote bad things first. You do too?
Your family not gonna book with you. Your friends not gonna book with you. It's complete strangers that you never met a day in your life. And honestly, my story is kind of the complete opposite. I did have family book with me.
For sure.
But I'm just saying, don't go. Those people who you think that you see that travel all the time that you think are going to book just because you told them that's not going to be your client. It's not gonna be a
for
plan.
sure. For sure. Yeah. And I tell them all these like bad things and not necessarily meant to be bad things. Like, and I don't want to label it bad now that I say that out loud. I think it's the reality side of being a travel agent. Cause again, it just goes back to, oh my God, you went to 15 countries this year. You were on, 2 trips a month. I saw you gone and da 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 da. But you didn't know what it took to get there. One of the things that always gets me with people is the notion of free travel.
Doesn't exist. You want to know how many plane tickets I bought last year and how much I paid for them? I think my whole commission last year went to it. I'm just playing.
It
I work for
definitely
plane
did.
tickets. I work for plane tickets.
No, that's our thing. That's our thing. And even I say when we get to go to resorts and things like that, we've gotten ourselves in a position where you may not have actually paid particularly for that trip, but you have sent 20, 30, 40, 50 people to that resort, or you've sent them to another property and that resort saw, oh, well, she sells X property and my property is very similar. Maybe if I can get her here, she'll come, she can sell this one or whatever. So I always tell people that.
It's like the free samples at Sam's or Walmart when the people like they sitting there and they giving you like the sausage and you taste you like, oh, this is good. Let me go over here and buy something. That's the whole goal. That's what I would compare fam to, like a free sample.
Exactly.
That's what it
Exactly.
is.
That's a great comparison. I don't think I've ever heard anything like that.
It just popped in my head. I never, but yeah, like that's what it's like. Seriously.
See those great ideas. That's what I say. They just always coming. So have you had, switching gears a little bit, have you had any like mentors or people that you've kind of just been like, hey, help me align myself with? And maybe even if they weren't like considered a mentor, just the people that you call and bounce ideas and stuff off of to help you. Do you think that's been
so I have a lot. Like I can't really corner it down to one mentor or one person. Like I'm in like different organizations, ABTP, but even prior to that, the lady that I came in under Mona, I give her heads up. Like I used to call her all the time. We'll just talk through stuff. Even if she didn't understand, she'll try to go figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Like work together. So that was like a comfort zone to me because I thought I had help to help me through situations or even other members of the team of her agents that she had. We would work together. But I mean now like mainly any other travel agent that I know. I call Shay, Miko, you, Shantae, Latrice, like anybody. Norman. If one person can't figure it out, the next person can. Like so, I feel like it's just a whole network of a family. Like I don't want to point out one, even though I just named some of them people and I probably missed somebody. Sorry, y'all. I promise you it wasn't on purpose. But it's like a whole unit of people that I know that I can call. If I can't get it from Veranda, I can get it from the trees. If I can't get it from the trees, I can get it from Shay. So on, so on, so on, so on, so on, so on, so on.
right. And I think that's a big thing too, because I think that hits on how we as travel agents like work together. Even though we all are selling travel, we all going to most of the same places and selling the same resorts and things like that. It's nothing for us to for you to pick up the phone and call me and say, Brandon, have you been to such and such? Or, Latrice, I call her and say, hey, Latrice, did you, just all of that, working through it together with each other. And so I remember when I first started, I was kind of like on a island by myself because, I came from working from the wholesale part of it and I didn't have a travel agent community. And I've told people this before. Shout out to Ken. Ken was like my first friend in travel. And I met a lot of people because of him, because he knew so many people. But I feel like my business was able to grow because we do have this network of people. Because like you said, if you call this person and they don't know, let me get on the phone with the next person. Or it's either, you know what, Brittany, I don't know, but I heard such and such talking about that. Let me make the introduction. Let me call them. And I think that's what's so unique about the travel industry too, that we work in, that if you're doing it right and if you're doing it right and you're already, got your book of business and you're selling, it's not that hard to help somebody else. Like it's not, I don't feel like in that little group that you just named of all of us. And of course there's more that, like she said, she missed. But that little group of us, I'm just thinking about that. Like, it's nothing for us to call each other and help each other. And there's no like competition. There's no anything because it goes back to, like you said, I can give you the recipe, but that cake is going to be different because all of us, just thinking about those names that you said, all of us do something different.
Completely different.
Even though it's the same destinations, it's just all
completely different. Yeah, completely different. Completely
it's just
different.
all different.
Some of us do group contracts. Some of us don't even believe a group contract should exist, but it still work out. Everybody's still doing groups.
Yeah. I think that's the importance of that network that I think you create in travel, and you gotta have it, I think, to be successful. So many people want to go out at it by themselves. And we've seen it even at like the ABTP summit, where people have been afraid to raise their hand to ask a question, or afraid to say, I don't know what that program is or what it does, but that's the only way you're going to learn, is to be able to get it out there. So I think having that supportive community and those mentorships make our life a whole lot easier. Yeah, agreed. I think that just make our life a whole lot easier. So let me see. Let's share a fun fact. Like, what's one of the I hate the question when people say what's the best trip we've ever taken, because I think the best trip we've ever taken still comes, like it comes or whatever. But what's like one of the like best experiences of your entrepreneurial journey, whether it was on a trip with people or great customer satisfaction or just something like that?
That's hard.
I know it's so many.
I have different trip experiences, right?
Okay, I stumped her.
Yeah, that's hard.
And I get it. I don't even know if I know the answer to that question, because there's one of the things that I enjoy the most about our job, I love for first time travelers to go someplace and actually be like, oh my God, I can't believe I have not been traveling all alone. And I want to do this. Like, I don't know if me and you have ever talked about this, but one of my biggest groups I got because of a promoter that I knew. He was a club promoter. And when I first started, he had all these followers on Facebook, like 10, 12 years ago, before it was a big thing to be, social media famous or whatever. And I kind of just asked him, hey, do you have, if we put this trip out, do you think you could get like 100 people to go with us? And I didn't even know what 100 people was. I thought at the time I was actually thinking 100 people was small. And so I was like,
if I told y'all her numbers are knocking mine out the park. Just add that.
But at the time I was like, okay, we can get these people to go. But I go back to that to say these people were they went to the club all the time. So they spent like $300, $400 on just like a bottle in the club, right? And I was like, we can go to Cancun for a weekend where you can drink all you want, eat all you want for that $400. Those deals don't really exist anymore. This was 12, 13 years ago. But yeah, I was like, we can get everybody to go to Cancun for that. And I literally took that first group. We went to Temptation in Cancun for $385 a person. And I built my business off of that. And so that, and just seeing those people, most of them I had so many people who had never been on a plane before. They had never been definitely had never been out the country before. And now those same people still travel with me all the time. And just to see like them move from, just coming in at that entry level type resort and then moving up to the places that we go now has just been like, that's like the most gratifying thing I think I get out of my job. So if that kind of helps you think about something.
That does help me. And it won't even say for people that actually get to travel, right? So I'm from Birmingham, Alabama. So some people can look at it as small town country. So, social media is a thing, and I post a lot. And when I see people from where I'm from, and it's like, Brittany, I live through you. I like to see it, being able to share the world with people through somebody that they know. Because it's easy to see it on TV and stuff, but to actually see it. I know my great grandma used to always, before she passed, that girl gone again. She gone again. Brittany. Stuff that she never in her life necessarily got to do. For me to be able to do it, I feel like I'm doing it for me. And
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's the thing. Like I say that too. You know, I always gotta plug the west side of Chicago. But I'm from the west side of Chicago, and as a kid growing up there, I never thought that I would see these places that I get to go to. One of my things, the way I picked when I first started traveling, the way I picked places to go was by what I saw on TV. Like I remember my husband and I were watching a movie and they were at the Atlantis in Nassau. And I was like, oh my God, we should go to the Atlantis. Like that place looks gorgeous. Like I want to go. And it's just on TV. And so for the first time when we try, and we still do it now, we would travel and be like, hey, this is where Tom Cruise was in Mission Impossible. This is where, you know, this person was in that. And so it's funny to just see that, to be able to get to do that. And then, like I said, when I take other people to those places to think, they've never gone. So I tell people I don't believe in once in a lifetime trips because you can go back anywhere if you really want to. I went to South Africa for the first time and I've since been back 5 times after that.
You live there.
So
you live there.
So it's one of those places where I never even thought I would go the first time, let alone go 5 times. So well, Brittany, I appreciate you for taking time out of your busy schedule to speak with us today. Do you have anything that you want to share for maybe like a person thinking about getting into travel, or somebody that's in travel that's maybe like thinking like, hey, this isn't for me. I'm about to go.
Yeah. So double answer to the question. Somebody who's wanting to try travel, just start. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, you're not a failure. For the person that is currently doing travel and it's not working for you, ask yourself, like, what's your why? Like, why are you doing it? Are you doing it for the free trips? Are you doing it because you just want to do something and you're not really, because you got to have a heart for it. Like, this is nothing you can do and not actually want to do it. So figure out what's your why and why you're actually doing travel, because until you figure that out, it's not going to work for you.
That's a great thing, because the why is different for everybody. So it may, and that's what drives you and that's what keeps you going, because it's like, okay, wait a minute. So I agree with that 1000%. So Brittany, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate you. I'm gonna see you somewhere out in the world, hopefully soon. We'll see when we catch back up if either one of us made it.
Oh yeah, you're not making it to March. Yeah, I know for a fact you're not making it to March. But okay, let's see.
All right, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. Have a good day.
All right.